The Rock is arguably WWE's biggest star ever, amassing a catalog of matches, moments, and even movies that are unlike any other star in WWE history. And for that reason, his potential absence at WrestleMania 41 has the potential to ruin the show that everyone has built up to be one of, if not the biggest WrestleManias of all time. The Rock, when he came back to WWE last year, came back with a fury. We could tell that this wasn't like The Rock returns in the past, where he would show up either via satellite or in person, cut a promo, have some laughs, and then leave again. The Rock was here to stay, and moreover, he was here to prove something. The Rock wanted to prove once and for all that he was indeed the biggest star of all time. And as his presence continued to be on WWE TV, and as he continued to cut promos, kick ass, and be a part of the Bloodline storyline leading up to WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia, we all had to reckon with the truth. That being that The Rock was undeniably WWE's biggest and now most important stars, to the point where people were booking matches for The Rock beyond just WrestleMania 40. People wanted to see a match like Roman Reigns versus The Rock. People wanted to see Cody Rhodes versus The Rock. And there were even many fans clamoring to see that at WrestleMania 40 rather than the main event that we got between Roman and Cody. That is how big The Rock's presence was, and that is how large it is still looming on the product today. But it's also exactly why reports and rumors of him not being involved at WrestleMania 41 should be a sign for concern. When The Rock made his return to WWE at Bad Blood at the end of the show, confronting Roman Reigns and Cody and just kind of showing the fans that he was there, originally there were many who believed that this was a return to form for The Rock, that he was going to now be more and more active on TV, that he may even be involved in War Games, Survivor Series. However, that never ended up happening, and it has now come out that there was no plan for The Rock long term after Bad Blood, that he was just there to have a big moment at the end of the night. And while that is good and entertaining and it is going to create a lot of buzz around the show, in the long term, it does make fans' expectations sky high for WrestleMania, because everyone at that point is expecting Roman and The Rock, Cody and The Rock, something that involves the biggest star in WWE. And if you don't deliver that, you run the risk of not only being underwhelmed by what they end up, but also disengaging with the product. And I know that that may seem very far off given where WWE is today, them being hotter than they've ever been, them being bigger than they've ever been, having record after record after record broken for attendance, live gates, etc. However, we need to remember that a large part of that and a large part of the buzz that really carried them through most of 2024 was because of The Rock. The Rock, when he was there week in, week out, proved that he was bigger, better, and badder than every single star on the roster, to the point where Roman Reigns, the biggest guy in WWE who had just come off of a record-breaking championship reign, seemed like nothing in comparison, because he was standing in the ring with the greatest of all time. That is why The Rock has meant so much to WWE, and that is why we have seen a lot of the success of WWE continue over the past couple of years. But it's also why you run the risk, if you're WWE, of potentially alienating your fans if you don't follow through on what they're expecting. And I understand that The Rock has other commitments. He is shooting several movies. He is now involved in many different products. But you also have to look at the bigger picture. WWE today is completely different than what it was just even 5-6 years ago. Back then, while they were bigger and badder than everything, they were still professional wrestling, and they were seen largely as professional wrestling. However, in the post-TKO merger era of the company, they are something bigger. They are a pop culture phenomenon. They are not just a wrestling company or a wrestling show. And they mean more in the cultural zeitgeist than they ever have. That's why they are doing so many big things like this Netflix deal. That is why they're doing things like the Peacock deal. They want to be seen by as many eyeballs as possible. They want to have influence over as many people as possible, and they want to grow the business as big as they possibly can. And a big part of that is The Rock. And there is an argument to be made that for The Rock, it is just as important for him to be in WWE right now as it is for WWE to have him. It is a mutually beneficial partnership between the two. WWE gets everything that I just talked about. They get the large gates, they get the records, they get everything. But for The Rock, he gets to maintain an island of relevancy, to steal a term from Roman Reigns, that no one in Hollywood can say that they have. He has an entire industry at his fingertips. And he knows that whenever he needs to get hot for another movie run, whenever he needs to publicize something, whenever he needs to maybe inject some life into his career as a movie star, he has WWE to fall back on, because there he is an enormous fish in that pond. And he is able to make everyone in comparison look smaller, which ends up making him seem more popular, bigger, etc. And it allows for him to take advantage of that when his run ends. And that is why he originally came back in 2024. It was to help kind of rejuvenate his career, which had taken a bit of a swing after the whole Black Adam thing, which was filled with a lot of controversy and in many ways almost ruined his entire perception in Hollywood. So The Rock came back at the right time, and I think because of that, if he wants to continue to maintain the good perception that he has kind of regained over the past year, if he wants to continue to push out movie after movie and be relevant, it is important for him to go back to WWE and prove that people are here to see The Rock. People are here to see the Great One. People are here to see him. And in that way, he can prove that he's a needle mover. He can prove that he is still a draw, and he can mean even more in Hollywood than he does in WWE. So for that reason, The Rock needs to be at WrestleMania, even though it's looking less and less likely as the days go on. I guess we'll see.